Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. In today's video, we're going to be focusing on fair value gaps, what they are and how we can actually spot them on the chart. So without wasting so much time, let's just dive right into it. So what is a fair value gap? A fair value gap simply refers to the price gap that is found between three consecutive candles. So here you can see that we're being shown three beautiful candles to the left as well as three bullish candles to the right. So how would we identify our fair value gap? So a fair value gap will be identified as the gap that is located from the low of the upper first candle to the high of the lower bottom candle. So that's how we'd identify a fair value gap. So the same is true for the green candles. A fair value gap will be located from the low of the upper green candle to the high of the bottom candle. So this is the simplest way we would show a fair value gap on the chart. But now let's take a look at what a fair value gap doesn't look like. So a fair value gap doesn't look like the following. Whenever we see the wicks of the upper candle and the bottom candle overlap like the following, this is not a fair value gap, because in order for it to be a fair value gap, we should be able to see a gap located between the middle candle. So whenever we see the wicks meet or overlap, just as shown within the following, we cannot call this a fair value gap. Hence, this is not characterized or does not fall under fair value gaps. So now let's take a look at the chart and actually see this within live price action. Okay guys, so here we're looking at the pound dollar on the 3-hour chart, and as you can see, we can see that the market has been within an uptrend. But now what we want to do here is we want to be able to identify fair value gaps on live price action. So for example, I can already identify a fair value gap right here, and I can also see a fair value gap being created just below it. So somewhere right here, this is our fair value gap, and I can also spot another one. And if you continue to go back here, you can also see this one. So we have this fair value gap and this large one. So you have this fair value gap that was created right here. So let's start with this one. I want you to notice something when you look at this fair value gap. Notice that as this fair value gap was created, price came down, which means price began to drop down and filled the fair value gap, filling in not only this one but the underlying fair value gaps that were located below this one. Why does the market does this? Another important thing that you have to know is that fair value gap represent market inefficiencies or market imbalances. So what do I mean by imbalance or inefficiency? Sometimes when we look at in the market, sometimes the sellers might exceed the buyers, or the buyers might exceed the sellers, and this can be shown or represented by fair value gap. So whenever the buyers exceed the sellers or the sellers exceed the buyers, the market will always create this inefficiency gaps that we now call fair value gaps. That's why you see price action leaves such a gap, showing that a large momentum of buying power, showing buying power within the market. So that's what a fair value gap tells us. So whenever we have a fair value gap, it's only sure that the market will always come back to fill in the unfilled orders that were left behind. Hence, that's why you see just after this fair value gap was created, the market began to rally down, to go down in order to fill in this fair value gap. So fair value gaps represent market inefficiencies or market imbalances. Hence, that's why you see that just after these fair value gaps were created, the market begins to rally down.